everybody saw it already, but I love it so much, and I was only on the Drag Race Hispania. I mean, not many people are watching that. Hey, hi dolls, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 7 All Winners Edition, Episode 6. And, well, before I get started, I want to thank my fabulous Patreoner, Uncertain Voyage, for sending me some presents in the mail. I got this Real Techniques brush set, and then they sent me this little fabulous set. The other thing Uncertain sent, this is all off of my Amazon wish list, silicone brushes, and this is really good for applying any kind of like shimmer or glitter, anything that sometimes needs to go on with a finger. My fingers are too big for that. So thank you, Uncertain Voyage. These are going to be a huge help with all of this. Speaking of all of this, this is yet again another Pride look. I'm hoping that Teresa Mulhern features it on her next R&R. And this, believe it or not, is the Nikki Tutorials palette. I haven't used this in a while, but the shimmers in this palette, oh my God, they're so worth the drive to Acton. Yeah, I used this for this look, and I absolutely loved it. Now, I also want to thank deSouza for sending me his book, Happiness is a Warm Porg. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you know what a porg is. God bless you. Lara is selling these online for $15 US with worldwide distribution. 100% of the sales, minus shipping, will be donated to Rainbow Railroad. So I put a link to it in my description box down below. And if you'd like to pick up one of these little beauties for yourself, you can click on the link. And you really should. This is an adorable book. Some of my favorite cartoons are Reservoir Snoopy, and of course, because I'm old, this retro look of the Scooby-Doo cast as the cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Seriously, this is just adorable. And finally, I want to send a shout out to Chloe Demure, Save the Victory Roll, aka Manuela. I had sent her a palette from an indie company. It was her birthday month, so I sent it to her, and so she sent me a thank you card here. And then she sent me a couple of other things because you know how I am. First of all, ooh, look at this little top knot. This is so cute. I think I'm just gonna stick that right there. Oh yeah, that looks gorge. Yes, finish the look. Thank you, Chloe. There's also this one, and I can't wait to find a reason to wear this. Here's another. This is a big donut. I will wear this. Trust me. This will go into a wig. This will be fabulous. It's got sprinkles. How could I not use this? I'm just saying. But this is the thing that surprised me the most. You know, I'm a whore for the Juvia's Place makeup, and I have this fabulous little quad from Fumi Desiluvold, the Disco Fever palette, and I'm starting to run out because A, they've never restocked it, and B, I think it's just because I really love how dark the blue is. Well, Chloe sent me a replacement. Thank you so much, Chloe. You're a doll. You didn't have to, and it was my pleasure to send you a birthday greeting because I love your channel. And for those of you who are interested, I've got a link to Zoe's channel up here and down in the description box. And finally, and for truly finally, I want to thank Elizabeth for doing these fabulous nails. Elizabeth is not only a great Patreoner, she's starting a company. She's going to be doing custom orders, and I have a link to her Instagram page down below, and you can contact her and talk nails. Of course, it wouldn't be the Fingerdoo review if I didn't thank some tipper-doos, so I'd like to thank Joe Van Patten. I love you right back, doll. Tim from Texas. You're the best, Tim. And William Long popped by with a tipper-doo as well. Thank you, William, darling. And, well, of course, my tipper-doo boyfriend, Vito. Shut your face, Vito, you doll. I also have a Redbubble model to show off. Look at that ball of sexiness. This is Miranda Kirkness, a Redbubble model and gorgeous mother to the one and only Zachary Kirkness. Hey, Zachary, it's your Auntie Wilma. Mwah. Miranda is wearing the deSouza Wilma Pride logo on a gorgeous tee. Looking good, Miranda. Of course, You can get this and all images available at my Redbubble store on just about anything you want. I'm just saying. When you do purchase a fabulous little objet, send me a picture. Either tag me on Instagram, Twitter, or I don't know where else. But tag me with a picture of you in it or using whatever it is you got. So you, too, can join the ranks of Miranda Kirkness in the Redbubble Model Hall of Fame. And finally, I want to welcome the latest diva to the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, Xavier Perkins. I hope to see you at the next live chat, Xavier. Did I mention we do 2 live chats a month on my Patreon page? Shut your face. Well, we do. For more information on joining the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, getting your own Redbubble model-worthy Wilma merch, or to leave a tip or do, the links are all in the description box down below. Now, Jorge, drink me! Oh, look at this. Ooh, I'm spilling. It is, the sexiness of hurricane glass. No straw, I see. All right, so I'm just going to have to risk my... Oh, well worth the risk. Oh, and look, this did pretty good. I have no lipstick on here. I'm wearing Juvia's Place lipstick, and normally when I use lipstick, it's just lippy all over the glass, which was also the name of my Fringe play. Okay, let's get to it. In the aftermath of Jinx drawing a line in the sand and letting all the queens know that she is in it to win it by blocking her would-be blockee, the Vivian, Roger was crowing up a storm for finally winning a legendary legend star, as well she should. Of course, Jinx was now the first queen to nab 2 of those little beauties, much to Trinity's delight. Speaking of delight, cue Vivi. She strutted into that workroom like a woman scorned. Scorned, but not surprised. Vivi told the room she was expecting the block from Jinx after admitting last week that she would have blocked Jinx right then and there if she hadn't been safe. Well, Jinx assured Vivi that the reason she blocked her was that she was on an upward trajectory, and it could have easily have been Roger and the Vivi in the top 2. So she took out some potential competition. Either way, it seemed to ease Vivi's pain. Yeah, it's nice to be told that you're too good. Of course, the rest of the queens wanted to discuss who Jinx and Roger would be giving their second legendary legend stars to. Jinx said she was looking at who she'd like to be in the finale with and who'd been the most helpful to her. Trinity thought that for sure meant her. Bless. Roger wanted to keep both for herself, but in her own words, this was a Joan and Christina moment where she could keep one, give the rest away to the orphans. Selfish and shady. Looks like Roger's in it to win it too. Finally. The next day in the workroom, Rue arrived with this week's Maxi challenge, but first, she wanted to know who Roger and Jinx were giving their legendary legend stars to. Roger chose to give hers to Evie. Good choice. Now everyone has a legendary legend star, and Roger's a hero. Well done. Well played. That's how you do it. Jinx gave hers to Jada, which I thought was a good choice because Jada's a silent killer. She's everyone's friend, but not afraid to make big moves that shake things up. On paper, I don't think Jada's a threat, but I wouldn't be surprised if this mood from Jinx didn't just secure Miss Essence Hall a place in the finale. I'm just saying. And yes, Silent Killer was my drag queen name in high school. And then it was Maxi challenge time. Girl groups! The queens would be creating 2 Y2K TRL themed girl groups. One would be singing the new Eternal Love song Together Forever, and the other group would be debuting the breakup song Titanic. It's a going down joke there. Again, this is a family channel. I don't want to hear it from you. No. And with that, Rue left the queens to divide themselves into 2 groups. Easy enough, no? No. Apparently, Vivi had an issue as to how the groups were created. Roger, Monet, Shay, and Trinity formed one group because, well, they were standing together in that line, which made Vivi feel that her group was created by the other team. I thought that was a good point, but to be honest, no one else seemed to care. But I can get where Vivi was coming from. What if the queens were going to be judged by the group they were in instead of individually? If that's the case, These queens are only going to be as good as the team they're on. Seriously. All I can say is I hope Vivi felt better voicing her concern, because at the end of the day, the lineup for the two groups didn't change. See? Drama. Of course, these girl groups needed names. I have to say that I was super impressed by Roger's team name and subsequent backstory. Their initials, MSTR, created an acronym for Mr., and then had this idea that this was their first time performing without their fifth member, Evie, when their name was Mystery. Here's to Mr. Seriously, I was impressed. I thought it was cute. Probably inspired by the confrontation moments ago, the other team chose the name The Other Girls, with the idea that they were the rejects from past girl groups. Evie saw herself as a robot. Jada saw herself as the group's rapper who had no rapping skills whatsoever, and Jinx saw herself as the old one. So that left Vivi to be exotic. As a Brit. Don't they boil everything? How is that exotic? Regardless, all of these ideas seem to lift Vivi's mood, thank God. Because it's been a hard workaround is all I'm saying. And then it was time to record their lyrics with Leland and Freddie. Mr. went first. Monet's Britney-inspired performance seemed to improve when Leland suggested she take it up an octave. Did anyone else notice Monet's hands disappeared before she hit those high notes? I was a little concerned when Trinity told Leland her lyrics were all about Justin Timberlake. I just thought that would limit her creativity a little bit. Could make for a boring lyric. I'm just saying, this is All-Stars, people. Shay killed it so hard that she was already getting a spot on her blouse ready for another legendary legend star. Bless. The other girls' recording sessions seemed to go a little smoother, only in the fact that Leland had very little to add to improve their performance. To be fair, they all seemed distracted by Evie's dial-up mode of impersonation, and quite possibly Vivi's association to that sound and porn. Do they still have dial-up in Britain? Seriously, how old is Vivi? And then it was on to choreography, which the queens did in their girl group while the other group watched. There's no pressure there. In fact, there really was very little pressure. Both groups had their rough obstacles, Roger and Jinx, and their shining moments. Sure, neither group offered much in the way of praise or input, but I have to say, neither seemed too worried about the other either. Maybe because they both had enough to worry about on their own. Jinx and Roger. Jump to Elimination Day, and the queens getting their yoga on with a little guidance from Roger. The other girls were excited to unleash their girl group goodness on the judges, but then so was Shay. Shay was hella excited, but that may have been her way of hiding the fact that she was starting to worry that she was beginning to fade into the background in this competition. I hate to admit it, but I'm worried too. Come on, Shay. Ugh. Vivi pointed out that they were halfway through the competition, which was a worry for some of the queens, but Trinity did point out that only two queens had two legendary legend stars, so anyone could catch up at this point. This made Vivi extra happy that she was blocked. Thank God Monet was there to remind Vivi who blocked her. She's so shady, that Monet. And then it was time to head to the main stage where Rue looked stunning in her 80s girl group yumminess. Michelle looked mysterious in a somber do and black sequin top. Ross had eschewed his sequin baseball jackets for this sequin sweatshirt, bless. And joining the judges with a cake on her head, Swedish pop star Tove Lo. And then it was off to the TRL studios with host Carson Gailey. Can I just say, I thought Ross looked fantastic as Carson Gailey. Seriously, I didn't recognize him at first. And then it was the debut of Mr. and their single, Titanic. In general, I thought that they did a great job. I could tell that Roger wasn't as sure about the choreo as everyone else, but I've seen worse. However, during Roger's solo verse, the camera did keep cutting to a non-existent studio audience, so glean from that what you will. As for the other queens, They all rocked it. Monet was great, if not a little too understated. I guess I was expecting her to show off more or something during her solo, but she kept it pretty tame. Shay killed it, as if there was ever any doubt. And I loved what she was wearing, especially the maroon streaks in her wig. It took me back, I'll tell you what. Trinity was fabulous with her solo. I thought the Justin Timberlake obsession would be distracting, but well, she really sold it. Good for her. Next up was the other girls with their debut of Together Forever. Although I thought Mr. looked more like a group, I have to say that the other girls had way more energy. Evie surprised the hell out of me. I thought she looked great and even did a better job. Her whole robot android thing was genius, and the lyrics for her solo were fabulous. Seriously, it was a good night for Miss Oddly, I'm just saying. Jada's whole number 2 themed verse was so cleverly written. I was so impressed. I thought Jada looked fabulous. Jinx's lyrics about her titanium hip and having 2 years left to have your baby were so funny, although I hated what she was wearing. She needed a kicky little skirt or something to finish it off. Just me? The Vivian did a great job with her performance. Her lyrics were funny, she looked good, and unlike her failed girl group performance on Drag Race UK, well, she didn't forget her choreo or lyrics once. Here's to the Vivi. Way to do it. And then it was time for the runway. Category is Night of 1,000 Dolly Partons. God, I love Dolly Partons so much, I actually sat through the whole of Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone in a theater. And then I rented the video after to watch it a couple more times. I love Dolly, I'm just saying. First up, Monet in a stunning coat of many colors. This wasn't just Dolly, it was fashion. Fingerdoo for Monet. Trinity's Dolly on tour was gorgeous. Every inch of her sparkled like a diamond, which is why I gave Trinity a Fingerdoo too. I have to admit, I was not a huge fan of Shay's Dolly. It put me more in mind of Olivia Newton-John in Grease than Dolly Parton. Maybe if the wig had been different. I don't know, but the worst of it is, I gave her a finger don't. Come on, Shay. Roger surprised the hell out of me. Never in a million years would I have thought I'd ever seen her wearing something like this, and looking so good in it. So, naturally, Roger got a Fingerdoo too. Vivi was another one who was channeling Dolly Parton, although I don't think I've ever seen Dolly in an outfit quite like this. I bet she wouldn't say no to one. Just saying, Fingerdoo for Vivi. Jada served up some grand old Opry Dolly in this look, if you ask me. I thought it was just fabulous, which of course means Jada got a Fingerdoo. Go on, Jada, make Jinx regret giving you a star, girl. Seriously. Speaking of Jinx, she was the only one serving 80s Dolly at the height of the 9 to 5 fame, which of course is my favorite Dolly. My second favorite Dolly is when she was singing with Kenny Rogers. Still around the same time, but still, I'm just saying. Finally, Evie was another queen who surprised me with her fabulous Dolly runway. I could totally see Miss Parton wanting to buy one in every color, so Fingerdoo for Evie. Just saying. Back in the Untucked Lounge, the queens gushed over their love of Dolly and how they were going to make a pilgrimage to Dollywood, and whether the rumors of her being covered in tattoos were true. Do you think it's true? Jada talked about how much fun she had during the Maxi challenge, and Jinx brought up a good point. There was no announcement of a winning team, so how was this going to go? Regardless, the room agreed that both Monet and Evie were shoo-ins for top 2. But it was pointed out that Jinx's Dolly was popular with both Michelle and Ross, so yeah. After a little scream therapy, and I mean very little as far as Monet was concerned, she faked it because she had to protect the Void Che, Tove Lo popped by for a visit, and I'm so glad she did because the mystery of why she was wearing what she was wearing was finally revealed. People told her to. Actually, her stylist thought an Elizabethan bar wench dress with a cake on an aviator helmet would be kicky. And Tove either didn't care or she lost a bet. I don't know which, because we're not friends. As for the rest of her visit, Tove Lo gushed on how much of a fan she was of drag and how impressed she was with the work they did for the Maxi challenge. So she should. Those queens really busted a hump, I'm just saying. Seriously, it was a good visit. Tove talked about her creative process and how COVID affected that process. Here's to Tove Lu for not letting a global lockdown keep her down. Seriously. There was another great moment in the Untucked Lounge when Trinity tearily told Monet how proud she was to be part of her season of All-Stars, and that if she couldn't win, she'd want Monet to. It was a very touching moment that Jinx invaded with her ukulele. It's always the people with the ukuleles, isn't it? Seriously. Back on the main stage, Ru announced that the top 2 All-Stars of the week were the Vivienne, who was thrilled that she'd been blocked by Jinx and was missing out on her second legendary legend star. Jinx, you in danger, girl. The second All-Star to win the legendary legend star was Yvie Oddly. First of all, well done, Yvie. Secondly, see, just like that, she's gone from not having any legendary legend stars to being the other queen who's got 2 stars. Her, Jinx, and Jada. Thanks to Roger. Just saying. Rightly so, the queens had to lip sync for their legacy to a Dolly Partons song. Why'd you come in here? I love that song. I'm sorry that Yvie changed her outfit for the lip sync, only because I like the other outfit better. But it's obvious that Vivi does Dolly Parton in her act. She had her mannerisms down, and she was funny to boot. So it was no surprise that it was the Vivienne who won the lip sync. Let's hope that 10 grand eases the pain of not getting a second legendary legend star. It won't. Speaking of, now Vivi got to block a queen. Was there a moment where anyone thought she wasn't going to give that plunger to Jinx? Anyone? If Jinx and Vivi don't watch out, they're going to block each other out of the finale, I'm just saying. Seriously. What about you? Do you agree on who was top 2? Monet did a great job. So did Shay. So did Trinity. And what about Vivi blocking Jinx? Was she the obvious choice no matter who was blocked last week? Or was there someone better? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you loved it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And check out the links for ways you can support me and my channel in the description box down below. Until next week, miss me! Mwah! Seriously. That Vivienne and Jinx had better come to terms with each other, or they're just going to keep blocking each other, and they're going to get surpassed by other queens. But who else would you have given a block to this week? I mean, as the Vivienne, there was nobody. She couldn't block Yvie. Monet did well, but she hasn't done well enough to even get top 2. What about since her first one? What about Shay? She's another one. You want to block her because you know the potential's there, but she hasn't done anything. This next week's challenge will have to be a real big decider because we're, as Vivienne said, halfway through it. It's amazing. Part of me doesn't want it to end because I'm enjoying the format so much, but at the same time, I also feel like, oh yeah, it's been on a while now because nobody's going home. It still feels like it's the first week or 2. It feels like the first week or 2. Oh, my nose won't stop running. I blame the powders. That Cody Air spun powder. It'll get you, I tell you what.